up, people? Khamzat Chimaev has orientation is locked. Rotate device back. What is orientation? This is my first time going live from my phone. Come on, sit up, motherfucker. I think that would work, wouldn't it? Okay, you know what? Whatever. I can just hold it like this. Khamzat Chimaev has just beaten Dricus. And I want to see how y'all feel about that. Because I'm sure a lot of people are very upset about how that fight went. But don't worry. This is going to be therapy for everybody. I want everybody to come and tell me how you feel. I know Dricus had a lot of fans and a lot of people rooting for him. So feel free to come and talk about it in here. I'm going to be the first one to tell you, I am a big Khamzat Chimaev fan. If that would have been any other guy, like if that would have been Arman, same performance against Charles Oliveira, I would be furious. But I like Khamzat, so I'm not as mad. There's going to be a lot of people who don't agree, though, and I want to hear what you guys have to say. We're going to pull up some stats from the fight. God, I hate this. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. I'm not going to lie. I know there's some people mad about this. But there were some things that evened out during the card, I feel like, right? We got to see Aaron Pico lose. I know a lot of UFC fans just don't like Bellator guys or guys crossing over from other promotions. What a performance from Tim Elliott. Like, you would have never, ever in a million years convinced me that Tim Elliott, 38 years old, being gone for over like 2 years almost, coming back against Kai Asakora, would get a submission finish in the second round. But I've got to say, I am super disappointed with Kai Asakora. He just doesn't seem to be UFC level. He doesn't seem to be ready. And that sucks because he has a giant fan base in Asia. What's up, guys? Leah and I don't know person. What's good? Yeah, it sucks for Kai Asakora, man. I hate to see that for him. His first fight was against the champion, right? And so when he lost to the champion, you couldn't really say too much about it, right? It's Pantoja. But a loss against a 38-year-old Tim Elliott doesn't sit right with me. I don't know what Kai Asakora does next. How old is Kai Asakora? Let's look at this real quick. Kai Asakora is 31 years old. So he's not old, you know what I mean? He's got plenty of time to try and get it figured out. But my God, if he's not winning against guys like Tim Elliott, I don't know what's next for him. But I will say this. He needs to be working wrestling. His athleticism is great, right? The striking, the flying knees. He likes to show that off. And rightfully so. You know, if I could throw a flying knee like Kai Asakora could, I'd be showing it off too. But you can't be getting taken down and submitted by Tim Elliott. The UFC, the skill level is just so different, right? Where if you make one mistake, MVP made a mistake tonight, right? He looked incredible. But he made a mistake on his entry and he got taken down. Luckily, he won the fight. Tyler the Creator fan, what is up, bro? Brad the Bear, what's up? Pierre de Beauvoir. He wears tight Speedos to amplify his bulge. Who does? Kai Asakora? I think these guys are wearing steel cups, bro. If that's who you're talking about. I know you ain't talking about me. Yo, Kai Asakora. That's hilarious. Do you think that Kai Asakora is out here putting socks in his shorts to amplify his bulge or what, bro? That would be hectic. That would be hectic. Yeah, bad night for Kai Asakora. His stock, out of everybody, his stock has plummeted from this card. I'm not going to lie to you. I was playing the new Madden, bouncing from that to NCAA. I'm torn between what games I want to play right now. Like, it was Kingdom Come for a while, and then I went from that to Elden Ring. I bounced over and finished that DLC, but now I'm back on Madden. Anyways, I didn't want to watch the prelims, but we caught the main card. And moving up to Jared Cannonier versus MVP, definitely not socks, probably a bag of weed. That checks out. Probably a bag of dope. I was worried about MVP moving up to 185. He's so invested in 170 at welterweight. It just seemed like something that he wanted to do to stay busy, and I worry about guys moving up, moving down just to take a fight. An example of that would be Kevin Holland. But MVP showed tonight that he can make that transition. Pause. He can make the move up. You know what I'm saying? And Jared Cannonier is one of those guys, right? Where if you can do what MVP did to Jared Cannonier, middleweight might just have a place for MVP. I wish, there wasn't any call-outs tonight. Did y'all notice that? What's up, man, Mango? Did y'all notice no call-outs? Like, I was hoping Khamzat Chimaev would call somebody out. No call-outs tonight. No opportunities. No. I wonder if Dana White specifically told Joe Rogan, hey, don't ask these guys who they want next. I don't know. But MVP still has a lot of work to be done at welterweight, but he can fight at both. But I think a fight against Leon Edwards makes a lot of sense. What's Leon Edwards ranked? Like 2 or 3? Let's see what Rocky Edwards is ranked right now. Leon Edwards. Dude, he hasn't fought since he lost the belt, right? Number 4. That would be a good fight. Middleweight's tough. Welterweight's tough too, though. I mean, you could argue both of them are tough. And this is what's so crazy. Just a couple of months ago, I was like, oh my God, welterweight. This welterweight division in the UFC is so good. There's no other division like it. Fast forward to right now, and it's like, bro, middleweight is kind of lit. Middleweight's kind of stacked. So there's a lot of fun fights for MVP. It's crazy to see how good he still is at, 36 years old? Let's look at the strikes. Total strikes. It says Jared Cannonier actually outstruck MVP, which, I don't know about that. Moving up the card. Guy Abercrombie. No, I do not live in Ohio. Is there something in my background that would lead you to believe that? I don't live in Ohio, but I have a bunch of friends from Ohio. A lot of friends from Ohio. I lived in California for a long time, for about 8 years. And I lived in a big house where a bunch of guys will go in and be roommates. That sounds crazy, but it's not. California is super expensive. But anyways, we called it the Ohio house because most 90% of the guys were from Ohio. I'm from Louisiana, though. And I currently live in Louisiana. I bought a house out here about a year ago. So California sucks, bro. Unless you're from there, then you probably love it. But it wasn't for me. Moving up the card, Jeff Neal versus Carlos Prates. Fun fact, do y'all realize that Jeff Neal is really still not bussing tables, a server? He's still really serving tables. And the reason he said is because it keeps him busy. He said it helps his cardio. I don't see how serving tables can help your cardio for a UFC fight, but whatever, to each his own. I have a problem with the number 10, or what is he, 10 or 11? Top 10 athlete in the UFC having to work at a restaurant. That just doesn't sit right with me, bro. I don't know. But Jeff Neal is very dangerous. I go back to his fight against Shavkat, where he's super game. And he's going to be there. He's not going to wilt. You're going to have to finish him. And that's exactly what Carlos Prates did at the end of the second round. No, end of first round. Literally a buzzer beater. Look at this. 4 minutes, 59 seconds in round 1. Carlos Prates catches Jeff Neal with a spinning back elbow. And the sound of it sounded like a freaking aluminum baseball bat smacking a baseball. Tough luck for Jeff Neal. I think that if Carlos Prates would have came out that aggressive, and it wasn't like he was super aggressive, he was just picking his shots really well, and he was staying very active. I think if he would have done that against Ian Gary, he would have had a lot more success. Is Jake Paul on there? Is Jake Paul on there? Like on the fight card? Jake Paul's from Ohio, supposedly. No, Jake Paul was not on this fight card. We're talking UFC 319 in Chicago. Yeah, no Jake Paul. Jake Paul just fought against Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., who's like 38 years old. Our world is pretty cooked, bro. Our world is pretty cooked. What's the most cooked thing about our world right now? Where are you guys from? What's the most cooked thing happening in your side of the world? I'll tell you the most cooked part of my part of the world in Louisiana is minimum wage is still $7.25. How do you live off $7.25? That's crazy. Brain rot? That's a solid answer. Bro. Who's cringe? If you're talking about me, you're absolutely right. I know I am. Are you talking about somebody else? Guy Abercrombie. Is that your real last name, bro? Because if that's not your real last name, that's pretty cringe. I'm just messing with y'all, man. Let's keep talking about these fights, though. Keep commenting. We'll keep talking back and forth. Moving up the card to the co-main event, Lerone Murphy versus Aaron Pico. Oh, my God. Aaron Pico was America's last hope at a wrestler representing us in the UFC. Because I don't know if y'all noticed or not, but there's not a lot of American representation in the UFC as far as wrestling goes. The best wrestlers in the UFC, we all know this, they're from Russia, they're from Chechnya, they're from that region of the world. And Aaron Pico started off the fight looking incredible. He looked really good. I will say his pace was stupid high. Like, it seemed like he was trying to get a finish in the first round, and I knew that he wasn't going to be able to go through the second round and the third round with that same pace. And speaking of spinning back elbows, Lerone Murphy hits Aaron Pico with one and puts him away. And that sucked. You know, these guys coming from these other promotions, they're just not having a lot of success. MVP is, though. Michael Venom Page is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. But tough going for Aaron Pico. He'll get another shot. Lerone Murphy's undefeated, by the way. So that's a tough matchup for anybody. Lerone Murphy said that it was like the toughest 3-4 minutes of an opening round that he's ever had. Aaron Pico's going to have to figure out that pace, calm it down a little bit, calm it down, because that aggression got him in trouble. The aggression got his ass knocked out. Moving up the card to my favorite fight. Guys, I was so nervous for the Khamzat Chimaev and Dricus Duplessis fight. This guy is chill for real. Thank you, bro. I like to think that I'm a chill guy. I usually do not do live streams. This is actually my first time doing a live stream. And the only reason I'm doing it is because I'm so pumped that Khamzat Chimaev actually won a belt. Like, this, I feel like this was his destiny. I felt like this was supposed to happen. And I felt like it happened about 2 years too late. It felt like it should have been happened. But nevertheless, that's why I'm doing this live stream. I usually just make videos. But yeah, let's talk about it. If Khamzat Chimaev was not one of my favorite fighters, I would be furious. For example, if this was Arman Sarukian that put up that same performance, that just dominated in control time, didn't do much else, I would be livid. I would be calling for rule changes and all the above. But since Khamzat Chimaev is one of my favorite fighters, I'm very happy. I'm very happy. The unfortunate thing is that the fan base, the MMA fan base, is going to be divided now. Probably more than divided. Probably 50 to 70% of MMA fans in America are going to be pissed that Khamzat Chimaev got the win the way he did. So there's like going to be this asterisk next to this championship win. I love it. I love it for him. Dricus knew what he was getting himself into. The whole world knew what Dricus was getting into. And I don't see how we could expect anything different. It was cool to see Khamzat go for more than 3 rounds. That was always the question. What does this guy look like after 3 rounds? And I think we were able to see that. I will say, Khamzat scares me a little bit on the feet. Like, he's legit, right? I don't know about legit, but he's decent, right? He can knock people out. He knocked out Ikram Aliskerov on the regional scene. Nasty uppercut. Go and look that one up. That's a sick highlight. He throws good leg kicks, good body kicks. He can throw a nice head kick, too, and he caught Dricus with a few of them. Dricus blocked him. DRISCUS. But I don't know exactly why his stand-up looks the way it does. Maybe because he's so tired from wrestling. Maybe because he's had so much success with the wrestling that he's really looking for another opportunity for a takedown, that he's not really committed to the stand-up. See, when, you have to be committed, especially in the 5th round when the freaking ref stands you up and Dricus is desperate for a knockout. He had to get a finish to win. And Khamzat looked a little iffy right then and there, but who cares if you look iffy if you're able to then take the guy right back down? I don't know why Mark Goddard even stood the 2 fighters up. Like, Khamzat was just going to take him back down over and over and over again. Wait, who won? I heard myself. Khamzat Chimaev, bro. Khamzat Chimaev got a very dominant. He won all 5 rounds. I think it was a unanimous decision, 50-43 or 50-44. Let's look at the control time. I'll show you. 529 total strikes for Khamzat Chimaev versus 45 for Dricus. 13 significant strikes for Dricus, 37 for Khamzat. A lot of these punches were rabbit punches. 12 takedowns. It doesn't say the control time, but he was averaging like 4 to 4.5 minutes each 5-minute round of control time. There was just nothing that Dricus could do, and Khamzat was hunting for the finish. Look, Khamzat is a guy that's going to try to pop your head off if he can. He did it to Rob Whittaker, literally damn near ripped his jaw off. Dricus was just really good at defending the neck, defending those takedown submissions. Dricus is the guy, if y'all remember, that like beat the whole Gracie BJJ team. So like, he's good. He's decent, but he's just not on Khamzat Chimaev's level. I want to know what he was saying in Arabic. If we have anybody on here that speaks Arabic, I think a lot of why people are saying it's boring, they should watch boxing. Harsh. This is what I was just saying. A lot of the fan base is going to be split, meaning a lot of people are not going to like that fight because it was a little boring. Khamzat Chimaev is one of my favorite fighters, so I enjoyed it. If you're a guy that doesn't like Khamzat, that's a fight that you're going to despise because it was all control time. But he was hunting for a submission. Look, the thing is, until they change the rules and give guys a bit of an advantage, which I don't know what it would be. I'm a fan of knees to a grounded opponent. I'm a fan to kicks to a grounded opponent. Until they can give these guys that are being out-wrestled a little bit of an advantage by some rule change, these guys from Chechnya, these guys from Russia are going to continue dominating. I know, DDP's hard to not like, bro. Like, and I thought about that during this fight build-up. I was listening to DDP during the media interviews. I'm like, why do I not like DDP? I think a lot of people got mixed feelings about DDP during the build-up with Adesanya. But I like him. I like him. There's nothing wrong with him, but I tell you what, Khamzat has been one of my favorites for a while. There's only a few guys that give me a certain feeling. McGregor gave me that feeling. Charles Oliveira gave me that feeling. Khamzat Chimaev gives me that same feeling when he fights. So he's just one of my favorites. Man, Khamzat Chimaev, they're probably going to make him be active. They're probably going to make him be active. That's the biggest knock on Khamzat getting the belt. Is he going to stay active? And I think as long as he's healthy, the answer to that is absolutely yes. He said he wanted a quick turnaround and fight again. I was saying earlier in this live stream that He didn't get the chance to call anybody out. I don't know if Joe Rogan was specifically told by Dana White, hey, don't let these guys call anybody out. Don't ask them who they want to fight next. Because nobody was getting called out. Nobody was asking who they wanted to fight next. But yes, I think absolutely Khamzat. Look, I'll answer your question, but let me say this. I think with Khamzat winning this belt, it opens up so many possibilities. I have always been interested in the Islam Makhachev versus Khamzat Chimaev fight, because Islam has moved up to 170. We know that Khamzat can move down to 170. I think that fight is way bigger than the Topuria fight. Actually, that might be cap. Elliott Topuria has gotten a huge following, but still, it'd be huge. At least DDP. Oh, wait. I don't have favorites, but I have much respect for Dan Ige with that 3-hour. Much respect for Dan Ige. Dan Ige actually had a pretty decent fight against Pitbull, too. I'm not going to lie. Pitbull's another guy from another promotion that got a win in his second fight in the UFC. Maybe we'll see that from Aaron Pico. Tough luck for Kai Asakora, though. He got his ass whooped by an old Tim Elliott. At least DDP didn't tap out and managed 5 rounds. Big deal. It is absolutely a big deal. DDP's the man. Rob Whittaker got his jaw broken in, like, I don't know, what was it, 2 or 3 minutes? Against Diego Lopez. Who against Diego Lopez? Oh, okay, I see what you mean. Do you want Khamzat versus... The Paulo Costa fight has got to happen. There's too much there. Look, these guys at middleweight, the Paulo Costas of the world, it's crazy. I want to say it's like Alex Pereira a little bit, because we haven't seen a big sample size of Khamzat Chimaev. All his fights have been really quick, and even the ones that have lasted and went the distance, like the Gilbert Burns was the perfect fight for me. Like, when you're looking at a sample size of how does Khamzat strike, how does he handle adversity, like, that's the one I go to. All the other ones, you know, I just worry about what happens if he can't take a guy down at will. I don't think that if he puts his mind to it that he won't, though. And I think that's what he'll do to Paulo Costa. My point is, I say all that to say this, Paulo Costa worries me because he's got big power. And I think Khamzat Chimaev can be knocked out. Like, I don't think he's immortal. But there's already a storyline. The problem is Paulo's got to get another win or 2, depending on who he beats next. I think that fight could absolutely happen. Who do y'all think is next? Let's look at the middleweight. Let's look at the middleweight rankings. Middleweight rankings UFC. Let's check it out. Oh, the Nasruddin Imavov and Barajo fight is about to happen. That's going to determine the landscape. So, and when do those guys fight? Those guys don't fight for another couple months, so nothing's going to happen in that division until those 2 fight. We still got Izzy Adesanya sitting at number 4. Rainer de Ritter, who just beat... See, okay. So the only available fighters right now for Khamzat Chimaev, let's say if he was to fight 3 months from now, would be Izzy or Sean Strickland or Fluffy Hernandez. But there's no way Fluffy's going to jump Barajo. And the middleweight division, Khamzat's next opponent in the middleweight division is riding on Imavov, Jesus Christ. Yeah, Nasruddin Imavov versus Barajo. Let's see. Hey, you heard Khamzat was talking about fighting with Islam. Yes, bro. This is the biggest fight. This is the biggest fight. And the thing, a lot of these guys have an allegiance together where they will never fight. Like, Bilal Muhammad. He's never going to fight Islam. Bilal Muhammad. For a while, he was never going to fight Kamaru Usman. Khamzat doesn't have that same allegiance to Islam and to Khabib. So he will fight anybody. He wants the money, number one. And he can say all he wants. He doesn't care about belts. He saw Conor McGregor on TV as a kid, as an younger teenager. And he saw the success he was having and said, I think I can do it too. it wasn't just the money. You don't train just for the money. You train to be great. Khamzat knows that he's great, and I think he's going to want to capture a couple different belts. So I think the Islam fight is very advantageous for Khamzat because I think he can beat Islam. I think he can. The problem is Islam going to get past Jack Della Maddalena? I think that Jack Della did an awesome job against Bilal Muhammad. And I'm not saying Bilal Muhammad is an Islam Makhachev, but how much better is Islam than Bilal? I don't know. We'll see. Nah, I used to watch WWE back in the day, bro. My favorite wrestler used to be Carlito. I check stuff out on YouTube every now and then. You know, I see Rhea Ripley's probably one of my favorite female wrestlers. But I don't keep up with it too much, bro. I'm strictly the combat sports side of things. So, like, I'm big into One Championship. I'm bigger into UFC, but I also cover One Championship. If you go on my channel, you'll see that I do One Championship videos too. Or I try to. They come on super early where I live at, so I try to at least do the highlights. But guys, fantastic card. It is almost 1 a.m. where I'm at. Thank you for hanging in here with me. Thank you for the conversation and putting in some of your thoughts. I'm about to get off of here. Maybe we'll make a full-length video, but I don't know. I think I've gotten everything out on this live stream. Crazy fight, and we live in a world where the middleweight title is never going to go back to Africa, at least not through DDP while Khamzat is champion. Let me know what you guys thought about this one.